Welcome to the DMF podcast, where you will get to hear conversations with community leaders, charity spotlights, and information on upcoming DMF events. I'm your host, Whitney Isaacson, and today I got to sit down with Sarah and Arlin Fisher. They took their story of tragedy and turned it into a mission to spread awareness on organ donation, which ultimately created the nonprofit Crosses for Cameron. I think you're really going to enjoy hearing from Sarah and Arlin today, so let's get into it. All right, welcome to the podcast. We are so excited to have you guys. Sarah, Arlin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Well, I always like to dive in with like a little heartwarming question, and just as the founders of Crosses for Cameron, what are you guys most passionate about in your role?
For me, I'm really passionate about having more people understand what organ donation is, telling Cameron's story of his gift of life, and working with organ recipients and helping provide some of their needs post-surgery.
I'm very passionate about the results, and what I mean by that is when we're out there and we speak to a group of young people about organ donation, and we tell them the facts and help them understand how it impacts others, we see how their lives or their eyes light up and how it changes, as well as even the Garden of Healing, which we're also part of, going out to that and seeing people walk through it and just finding relaxation, and they can reflect and they can remember. It's giving that satisfaction back to our community, helping our community heal and become stronger.
Right. Yes. Well, thank you guys. So you kind of touched a little bit on the organ donation side. Can you guys tell us what the mission of Crosses for Cameron is and how it got started?
The mission of Cross for Cameron is to provide organ donation education, awareness, and support for our community. I guess how we got started through it was unfortunately through a tragedy. I'd love to tell you it was a happy event. Unfortunately, it was one of the most miserable days in our life. Our 22-year-old son, Cameron, was in a car as a passenger traveling west towards a small town called Durban. And unfortunately, as they crossed County 15, another car was coming and impacted him right in his driver or passenger side door. Sarah and I, as we lived that event, we realized that not every day is great, but there is greatness in every day. And the greatness that came out of that experience is that Cameron gave us the strength, the courage, the desire, the ability to help create the two nonprofits we have that are helping our communities. So that's unfortunately how our story got started.
Yeah. And a lot of times a charity or a heartwarming mission comes from a tragedy. And so thank you guys for sharing your story so openly. But I am curious, what are some impact stories that have come up from just you guys taking a leap of faith and starting this nonprofit?
Well, one thing that we are pretty proud of is we've been able to give scholarships every year to high school students in our area who some are going into the medical field, and so organ donation is very important to them. And some just applied because they have a personal story of organ donation themselves, such as a parent or someone in their family that has experienced organ donation. We also work with the two local hospitals here in town. We've been able to provide gas cards for recipients because once you have a transplant, that isn't the end of their story. There's a lot of post-op appointments and different things that they need to do to ensure that their gift of life is going to be successful. And so we've worked with both Sanford and Essentia to create gift cards that they are able to give out to their patients to help with some of their expenses.
And it's interesting some of the impact that we've seen. One of them that's just very memorable to me, and before I go into the story, just lay the groundwork a little bit. So back in 2020 when COVID hit, we no longer could go into the classroom to deliver our message around organ donation. And Sarah came up with this great idea. At first, I didn't necessarily think it was a super idea, but she proved me wrong. Anyway, where she said, I'm going to take a rock, I'm going to paint it a colorful color. I'm going to place it in a sandwich bag with a couple pieces of paper that talk about Cameron, talk about what organ donation is. Another card in there that says, it's a kindness card. So be nice to your fellow human being. And then the last one was a card that they can link back and tell a personal story. Well, when we first started it, Sarah's goal was, I asked her, I said, what's your goal? And she said, well, I'd like to get a rock pack in every state within 6 months. And we reached out to our family and friends, local social media family and friends. And within 6 days, there was a rock in every state.
Wow.
So
it's huge.
So again, it was created purely for awareness. We've created over 30,000 of these rock packets. They've gone global already, just spreading the word about organ donation. But one that really sticks in my mind was, it was about 2 years ago now, a young lady from the Alexandria area reached out to Sarah and said, this rock has been life-changing. And Sarah goes, well, can you tell me a little bit more about your story? And she said, well, like everybody, you have your stressful days, your stressful weeks. And she goes, usually how I would get through my stress would be to go out to my favorite nature spot, to suck in all the nature and help it just rejuvenate me. And she goes, as I was walking out to my favorite spot, I got to exactly where I always sit, and there was a rock packet sitting there. So she goes, I decided to read more about the rock packet. And she goes, I dug into it deeply. And after I got done reading and learning about Cameron's story, it just completely changed my life. And Sarah said, well, how did it change your life? And she said, well, I decided not to kill myself.
Wow.
And I mean, when I heard that story, after I wiped the tears, I said to Sarah, I said, wow, there's no way this will ever happen again. It's an anomaly. About 6 months later, a young gentleman reached out to us with a similar story. So, when you start something for an intent, this was purely to build awareness, sometimes there's side effects. And in this case, there was a very positive side effect where it actually extended 2 people's lives. And, from our understanding, they are still living. They're living a happier life. They're seeking help. And so I told Sarah, although I was sick and tired of making these rock packets, said we have to keep doing it.
Yeah. You guys truly are planting seeds of hope by just your mission and what you're doing. But obviously the impact of those rocks is just very heartwarming for sure.
Yeah. And we have places in the community that want to help us do it. So we have churches, we have nursing homes, we have Red River Human Services. They asked us if they could paint rocks, and they said, our population usually has attention span of about an hour, and so we'll make some rocks. He called me in a week and said, we need more rocks. They just love it. We have to tell them it's time to go home, and they just want to help, and it gives them purpose and feeling like they're helping the community, and they understand what Cameron did. And so it's just a win-win for both of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Just telling another positive story that came out of the Garden of Healing is, it was not last winter, but the winter before, about March, April timeframe, when we had a lot of snow on the ground yet. 51st Street right by the Shields Arena had a 5-foot berm of snow. And Sarah receives a Facebook post later that day of this lady who said, you know what, I really appreciate your garden. And they started conversing again, and Sarah asked, well, what went on? She said, I really needed to visit my brother's brick, because the sidewalks are lined with bricks that people can buy of their loved ones, or maybe it's overcoming a disease or whatever. It's just not about someone passing. Anyway, Sarah said, well, what took place? She goes, well, I had to visit him. So unfortunately right now, that the Garden of Healing is in a park that doesn't get a lot of love in the wintertime. As well as the city of Fargo doesn't clear a lot of paths to get to it. So this lady threw in a shovel in her car, drove there, parked, climbed over a 5-foot berm, walked through about 12 inches of snow to get to the garden, got to the beginning of the garden, shoveled the path until she got all the way to her brother's brick. So, no one ever could convince me that this was a spur of the moment thing. This was definitely premeditated. It was extremely important because shoveling snow is not fun. And she did it. She did it because she needed to be with her brother at that time. So the power of these things, such as the Garden of Healing, the Rock Campaign, Cross for Cameron, they have had such a wonderful impact. These are just 2 stories of many that we could tell you.
Right. Such benefits too. And I'm curious, can you give us just an overview of what the Garden of Healing is?
So the Garden of Healing was created after the loss of Cameron. And I originally was going to have it just be for donors and recipients as a way to acknowledge them. I work at Sanford, and we have a lot of flag raisings there and things for when someone becomes a donor, because we are a level 1 trauma center. And then COVID hit. And when we were in the process of doing that just little memorial park, I said, this is bigger than just this. Our community is really suffering with a lot of loss at this time. So we expanded it to just be the Garden of Healing. And it can be for anybody. It's for someone who's maybe had a cancer diagnosis and now they're in remission. And that's part of their healing. We have a lot of people that just come out there to remember someone that they have lost, but we also have people that come out there after a stressful day at work. We donated a brick to Officer Wallen and his family, and we had officers come out for the brick ceremony, and they said, we deal with a lot of stressful and not so nice things throughout the day, and we come here a lot just to sit on the rock, and we use it as a decompressing. So it was just really heartwarming to hear the different stories and the different people. So we always say the garden is beautiful. It has over 200 pollinating plants. The Fargo Garden Society has helped us plant them, take care of them, as well as local florists like Shotwell, Shy West, Baker's Nursery. They've all donated flowers to us. And that's beautiful when they all bloom. But really the beauty of the garden is the people that heal from it and the stories that they post and share with us.
Wow, I love it. I've even walked through the garden before, and it is gorgeous. It's well kept, and it truly is a place of healing.
Yeah.
For reference point for our listeners, the Garden of Healing is located by the Shields Arena on 32nd Avenue and 51st Street. It's in the park called the Urban Plains Park. So Sarah and I do not own the land. The park system, Fargo Park System, gave us usage of the land, though, so we can improve it for them. But at the end of the day, they are the owners of the land. And right now, we currently have phase 1 that's completed. It's roughly a 40-foot by 60-foot section of land. And as Sarah pointed out, it has many pollinating plants. It has water bubblers, flagpoles, sitting benches, sitting rocks. Just a very natural spot within an urban setting of Fargo. We are also, after we saw usage of the garden, we went back to the Fargo Park District to see if we could utilize the rest of the land in that area, which is about the size of a football field. And they came back and said, well, if you come back with a detailed design, we will then review it. So we hired an architecture firm, which helped us create the detailed design, construction documents, everything, along with a virtual tour. It's about 3 minutes long where people can watch the actual future garden. And went back, showed it to the commission, and they gave us approval to move forward with it. So it's right now it'll be about 12 and a half times the size of the existing garden. So it's about 30,000 square feet in size, so the size of a football field.
Wow. So that's phase 2.
That's phase 2. So the only thing holding us back is $1.5 million.
Right. Okay. Well, you're kind of leading into my next question is, if you guys were to dream big and think about any future plans, what would Crosses for Cameron do with a $10 million gift?
Oh my goodness. That would be a dream come true for sure. We would love to help recipients again. We'll kind of just do what we're doing now, but 10 times that. There's always a need for gas cards and just helping with expenses. How cool would it be to walk into a hospital and pay off someone's hospital bill? That would just be my ultimate heartwarming story. And then also finish off the garden. We like to have all the different entities that we have in there now, and we could expand that even more and help other communities. It might not be to this scale, but every community deserves a garden of healing. And how cool would that be to be able to take this to other communities and have that place of healing? Because the garden of healing isn't the cure-all be-all, but it is one tool in the toolbox that people can use to just help. And as we know, mental health crisis right now in communities around the country is really a huge crisis. And so if we can do one thing to make someone's day better, we like to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so special.
Yeah.
She pretty much said exactly what I would have said. It'd be great to finish this off, build a great template with the Garden of Healing, and then move it to other communities. Build a stronger foundation that would allow us to move it. And we've seen the impact. It's interesting when we first went to the Fargo Park District for approval. We went to the facilities team, and at that time, Dave Leaker was running the facilities team. And driving there, I told Sarah about 15 minutes into the meeting, they're just going to poo-poo us away. And we end up getting there, and something did happen at 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, Dave Leaker looked at us and said, when's their next meeting? I thought, oh my goodness. And then fast forward to when we went to the commission to get approved, and we were about third in line to present, and the first two groups went through, and it's like I looked at Sarah and said, oh my gosh, they are just going to nail us. The questions that are coming, it's just like, I don't know how we're going to answer them. Anyway, we get up, do our presentation, and we had one question from one of the commissioners, Dawn Morgan, and her question was, are you sure it's big enough? Well, she had more vision than we did, because with phase one, it was smaller, and she knew it should grow. So, I look at the power of what has come out of that has just been truly amazing. So based on that, I would love to, move it to more communities, and I'd also like to engage heavier and deeper into the organ donation and keep spreading the word.
Wow. Well, we cannot wait to watch you guys grow and see all the things you guys are doing. And I just wanted to say thank you for everything you guys are doing and sharing such an empowering mission. So my last question for you guys is, for anyone listening that wants to learn more, where can they go, or how can they get involved with you?
Yeah, in order, if you'd like to learn more about it, you can go out to crossesforcameron.org. So that's crossesforcameron.org. On that site, you'll learn a lot more. Also, we're part of the Giving Hearts Foundation. So if you go out to the Giving Hearts website, you can search for Cross for Cameron as well. We also have a second website, which is called the Garden of Healing Fargo.com. So gardenofhealingfargo.com. And you can learn more about the Garden of Healing, as well as watch videos around what exists today, as well as our virtual tour of what will exist in the near future.
Awesome. Okay. And maybe paint some rocks too.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly. We always need volunteers, and there's a lot of possibilities that people can do either inside or outside. So, or as individuals, or if you want to get your group together. I know there's a lot of companies in town that do a paid volunteer day. So come on out and get paid to do it and have fun with your coworkers.
Yeah,
wonderful.
And we have a wide need, ranging anywhere from gardening to helping with website design, to grant writing, to event organization. So there's a lot of possibilities for a lot of different talents. Okay. And you know what? The way we built phase one of the garden was through everyone in our community. Sarah and I just see ourselves as the conduit, but without our community, there's no way phase one would exist, and there's no way phase two will exist.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for sitting down with me today and getting to hear all about Crosses for Cameron, your story. And I just want to say thank you, and we cannot wait to see what you guys do next.
Well, thank you so much.
What an inspiring story from Sarah and Arlin today to hear the journey of Crosses for Cameron grow, to make organ donation a healing process. All right, folks, that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you next time on the DMF podcast.